Hello everyone, welcome to The Hooded Casual. This is my very first video guide, and actually my first video ever on YouTube. Thanks for taking the time to check it out. I hope this will be just one of many more to come. So, if you love the game but, like me, don't have much time to play, you're probably in the right place. I'm trying to create effective content that gets straight to the point and features affordable builds that even casual players like me can achieve pretty easily. Just a quick clarification, this is not the final version of the build. With more time, currency, and expertise, someone better than me could definitely refine it and take it to an even greater level. I also want to be upfront. I've gathered ideas and insights from all over the community about the skills and mechanics used in this build, and that's the way I found to make it work for me. So, let's not waste more time, and let's get started. The entire build concept works around the interaction of the Infernalist Ascendancy, specifically Pyromantic Pact. It's very simple and quick to explain. Pyromantic Pact removes your mana and converts your maximum mana into Infernal Flame. As you can see here, the mana cost of skills is converted into Infernal Flame. Instead of spending mana, you gather Infernal Flame. For example, Frostbite gives you 386 Infernal Flame, and when you gather the maximum Infernal Flame, which corresponds to your previous maximum mana, you deal fire damage to yourself. That's how it works. This is also very important. Fire damage has a chance to ignite you. Ignition will be critical later in the build. In terms of skills, we have two main sources of damage, two different barrier invocations. These are our two main skills, and they gather energy when you take damage. The idea is that when you reach your maximum Infernal Flame, you take damage. The first barrage invocation will have enough energy to be cast, and the damage it deals will fill the energy required to cast the second barrage invocation, and so on. Alright, I think that was the important part of the mechanics. Let's quickly go through the items. Most of them are very basic, rare items. The only exception is the armor, which is Ghost Raiment. I think it's the best for this kind of build because you don't want too much life. You need a high amount of energy shield instead. The reason you don't want a lot of life is because of Demon Form, which is a skill that makes you lose 0.5% of life per second per Infernal Flame. The higher your life, the greater the drain. Then we have rings, which simply need resistance and life regeneration. The amulet is an important item as well because you want the level of you Comet skills to be very high in order to let them gather more Infernal Flame. It provides life regeneration and boosts the level of all spell skills. Ideally, you don't want an amulet with unnecessary stats like life or intelligence. A good anointment for this build is Hard to Kill, which increases Flask life recovery. I'll explain why this is so important later. Another ring follows the same logic, life regeneration and resistances. The belt is one of the most important pieces because it boosts life recovery from flasks and increases flask life recovery rate. However, this belt isn't perfect because it has low resistances and it even has maximum life, which is something we don't want on any piece of gear. Finally, the boots are simple, with movement speed, resistances, and life regeneration. But again, avoid items with stats like mana or intelligence because those can interfere with the build's mechanics. Alright, now let's talk about the passive tree and jewels. Most of the jewels have +2 to maximum fire resistance because we want to cap our fire resistance at 90%. This is crucial to reducing the damage we take from Pyromantic Pact. The best affixes on ruby jewels are elemental damage and area of effect. Increased life recovery rate is also great if you can find it. There's a key node in the passive tree that makes flask life recovery apply to energy shield instead. This is why we focus so much on flasks and regeneration. It creates a huge energy shield recovery. Previously, I mentioned fire damage igniting you. This is actually good because it ensures that your energy shield never fully recovers, allowing for consistent regeneration. If you press your flasks without being ignited, your energy shield will fill completely, breaking the regeneration cycle. In my case, the regeneration rate is over 6,000 energy shield per second, which is high enough. This is why life recovery and regeneration are critical in this build. Remember, you also don't want mana on any piece of gear because that would disrupt the synergy with Pyromantic Pact. Alright, let me show you an example of how the build work in combats. I'll alternate between my barrage invocations, keeping the Infernal Flame full and pressing my Flask to maintain regeneration. Without the Flasks, the damage from demon form would kill me, but with everything set up properly, it works smoothly. Now let me show you what can break the build. Here's an example of boots with good stats for other builds, but not for this one. These boots have life, mana, and intelligence. The extra mana increases the maximum Infernal Flame, and so one barrier invocation's cost is not enough to reach the maximum, and this don't let us take the fire damage that we need in order to cast the next one, which breaks the loop and makes the build clunky. This is why you need to be careful when choosing gear. In this example, the only way to make it work is to include Frostbite in the skill rotation, annoying and hard to do. Lastly, let's talk about skill gems. The most important feature to check here is gem quality on barrier invocations, as it is necessary to allow them to gather enough energy to sustain the loop. In this last example, I want to share a common situation I used to encounter during my early attempts with the build. It happens sometimes, usually when I don't cast barrier invocations for long periods, that the damage over time debuff on me is not active. This means my energy shield fills completely, and pressing the potion has zero impact. In this clip, I press the life potion in that situation and then start spamming invocations like a fool. While the build is quite tanky due to its regeneration, it's also very easy to make mistakes and deal high damage to yourself. That's it for the build. I'll leave you with some more gameplay, and I hope you found this guide helpful. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.